Okay, so I'm wanting to talk about something that was revealed to me. This was actually revealed to me last year. It was either last year or the year before last. Um, I was online and I stumbled across this, and I'm like, huh? Like I couldn't believe it. So I'm like, this is definitely a sign. This I think was done by the ancestors, because I'm like, you know, what? I don't usually, get into this type of stuff, but I think it is important, and it's been put on my heart by my opia, or what you call ancestors, and so um, I'm sharing this. So Oya is actually a goddess from the Americas. She is a American Indian, indigenous American, however you want to say it. She's a goddess from the Americas. So let me see here. It says empowerment through the feminine. It says Oya, goddess of, I'm only going to focus on her. Oya, goddess of the winds, tornadoes, lightning, buffalo woman. So buffalo, hello, like what do you think about that? Let's see what else here. It said about Oya, she who rides with the wind. She who rides with the wind. So she's the whirlwind, it says. Um, the whirlwind is Oya among the Yoruba. Linguistically, Oya's name means terror or terror. Metaphorically, she speaks to a force that rips or pulls structures from their roots. That's why the tornado is most often the symbol drawn to represent the power of Oya when she enters the physical realm. I'm not sure if they have tornadoes in Africa, but I do know for a fact they have them over here. Um, Historically, her origins are a mystery. Some say she was from Nubia, others say she was a red woman. Red woman means an American Indian woman. Red was a term that was used meaning brown back in the day. So yet all agree she came from foreign lands. Her legends speak of her as the beautiful, violent, and fearful daughter of Yamoja. I don't know if I said that right. All agree she was a superhuman female warrior and horsewoman. So there were horses over here too. There are horses over here still. Um, that wielded a saber and a horse tail in one hand while pulling down lightning with the other. Let's see what else it says here. Cycles of 9. Ayansan is a praise name found in the Ifa Odu. This Odu speaks to a time when Oya was barren and her children were premature. They say that in this myth she went before Ifa and made a sacrifice of the sacred cloth of many colors, rainbow colors. Out of that cloth she gives birth to 9 children, which gives her the name Ayansan. I don't know if I'm saying that right again, meaning the mother of 9. The number 9 then becomes her sacred vibratory number. Now, I personally think that's interesting because I've been drawn to Oya, and I think that's probably how I stumbled upon this information, if I remember correctly. And then also with our website, Daughter Divine 9, so everything's coming together for me. I'm making the connections, so I just had to put that out there. It says, in the symbolism of barrenness and premature children, Yoruba cosmology reveals a woman's journey into the creative process where she's compelled to return to her inner knowing as she struggles to search for purpose that gives form to her ideas. Let me skip ahead a little bit. The cloth of many colors represents the spectrum of perspectives that a woman examines in her journey to give birth to a unique and creative idea. Oya, in this tale of Oya, we also witness the labors of becoming the rainbow warrior, often spoken of in Native American traditional teachings. Rainbow warrior. Whenever I review this tale, I often wonder if this is why she, Oya, is also referred to as the red woman from a foreign land. So they know that she's not from Africa. She's not an African, so-called African goddess. She also carries the saber and the horse tail. Oya is often described as carrying an irukere, I don't know if I said that right, headed horsetail, and a saber. As she rides, she's seen whirling both tail and saber while drawing down lightning that emerges as fire from her mouth. The fire, some say she stole from Shango, while others say she gave gave it to Shango as a symbol of her love and willingness to share her power. In Yoruba cosmology, the symbol of the Irukere, I don't know if I'm saying that right, beaded horsetail, speaks to her power to ride the horse of libido, which is sexual passion with daring skill. So yes, oh yeah, that's me. So if you're still not convinced, I do want to go to a few other words that are from Amerindian languages that contain the word Ya. So here we see Manaya, axe made out of stones. What else here? We see Mayani, which means nothing. We see Maye, type of mosquito that lives near high grass. Here we see Yaya, the creator. Yayael, the son of Yaya. We see Yayama, which is a pineapple. So these are just a few names that, a few words that have the Ya in it. So she is indeed from over here. As Ya is something that I don't, it could, be from somewhere, used somewhere else, but to my knowledge, it is from over here. The words Ya and, Haya and things like that. So anyway, I want to show proof of what I was speaking of in my last video as well. I don't want you guys to just think I'm saying stuff off the top of my, just saying stuff. I want to show you proof of what I'm saying. When I said that someone prompted me to make that statement in the video when I saw their post online regarding Wakanda, and how a lot of times these indigenous American, these Amerindian names are attributed to Africa, and they're also classified as ghetto in society over here. What that is just another way to strip indigenous Americans of their culture, of who they are, and to shame them for that, and then to place that in another area. So regarding Black Panther, which I will not be supporting, it speaks of Wakanda. Okay, and it says, hopefully this will come up. Let me see if I can delete a few tabs to kind of, because my computer's running a bit slow. Okay, Wakanda, officially known as the Kingdom of Wakanda. It's a small nation in Northeast Africa. For centuries, they have remained in isolation and are now considered the most, let me see, stuff slowing down here. Now considered the most technologically advanced nation of the planet. Okay, let me pause on Wakanda for a second, because I just remembered what I was going to say regarding Oya. Oya is said to be a wife of Shango. With mythologies, not only is it speaking of energy, so what, I guess what some may call science, not only do the mythologies speak of a science or energies, but they also reflect what happens with the people. So with Oya marrying Shango, Shango being from Africa, Oya being from America, that is a representation of how they're, due to, colonialism and women being captured, indigenous American women being captured and taken to Africa, and, a great number of African men being brought over here to the Americas. That union was made by some, the union between Amerindian females and African males. And so that Oya and Shango is also representative of that. So I almost forgot that. Okay, I got that out. Back to Wakanda. It says it's a place in Africa, right? This is from the Black Panther Marvel comic, right? Well, let's see if it really is. Mysteries of Native American myth and religion. The Omaha and Ponca people believed in a supreme god called Wakanda. Belief in this god was unorganized, and little instruction was given to Wakanda's followers. It says that there's no public gathering for Wakanda. This is just what colonists have observed, okay? Belief in Wakanda was a universal concept. Some individuals believe that this god was the thunder being, others that it normally appeared in the guise of the sun. Native Americans believed since they never seen the true form, they could not personify Wakanda, although they did not doubt Wakanda's existence. Prayers were said to Wakanda only for matters of great importance. This is something that I remember kind of studying from other mythologies about how there are the minor deities that people go to, and then there's like that major one that's like just the creator, like just the infinite, the one you can't bottle in. That's just kind of what this makes me think of. So basically, Wakanda has nothing to do with Africa. That was my whole point of sharing this. And then I wanted to quickly go into more about the indigenous American names that were used and are called ghetto, and you know ignorant people call it ghetto and attribute it to Africa. So let me go with Tawanda. So Tawanda, let's see what it says about Tawanda. Tawanda Susquehanna Greenway. Tawanda is a progressive, historic, and scenic community situated on the banks of the beautiful Susquehanna River. I don't know if I'm saying that right, guys, so forgive me. Settled in 1786, Tawanda has a rich heritage connection with Native Americans of this agricultural valley of the Allegheny Plateau. I don't know if I said that right either. But of course it has a connection because it's indigenous American land, so of course it does. So that right there says what it is. Now let's go back, because when you look at the name origins, you'll find out what it says. So this website, let me click on this website because I see they're talking a lot of BS. Tawanda. Nameless feature, Tawanda. Tawanda is the softened version of the name Tawanda due to the replacement of the O with an A. Despite the fact that many African American, quotation African American, females are named Tawanda, the name is actually Native American. This is ignorant. African Americans have thus adopted the name and began to use it more in modern times than Native Americans. It's not that they adopted the name, it's that that's part of their culture, and they've been reclassified about 1,000 times. We've been mulatto, we've been Negro, we've been black. Now we're African American. These type of tactics are done to strip people away from their heritage. You continue changing what you're going to call them to the public, so then the public is going to call them this, and if they call themselves that for so many generations, they're going to forget who they actually are. So no, it's not African American females that have the name, it's indigenous American females that have the name. So anyway, they say it's an Osage Indian word. I don't know if I pronounced that right here. Has two meanings: peaceful resting place, many waters, or rushing waters. There are 3 towns in America named Tawanda based on Native American roots. Also, when you go up here, it says Braxton. There's one of the Braxton sisters, Toni Braxton's sister, is named Tawanda Braxton. I also remember my mother telling me that their family was American Indian. So, these are just things that people need to think about. If you still don't believe it, let me pull up Jack D. Forbes. He actually wrote a book called Africans and Native Americans. He in that book he spoke of how Native Americans were shipped to Africa, and he also spoke of a lot of other things that were being done under colonialism. So this is a little excerpt from, I guess, one of his books or something he wrote, Explorations in Ethnic Studies, Volume 7. The use of the terms Negro and Black to include persons of Native American ancestry in Anglo-North America. In 1854, California State Supreme Court sought to bar all non-Caucasians from equal citizenship and civil rights. The court stated, the word black may include all Negroes, but the term Negro does not include all black persons. We are of the opinion that the words white, Negro, mulatto, and black person, whenever they occur in our Constitution, must be taken in their generic sense, that the words black person in the 14th section must be taken as distinguished from white, and necessarily includes all races other than the Caucasian. So that means it doesn't matter what ethnic group you belong to, they're going to call you black if you are not Caucasian. And that's what they did. So, as convoluted as the quote may be, it tends to express a strong tendency in the history of the United States toward creating two broad classes of people, white and non-white, citizen and non-citizen, or semi-citizen. So that still is in effect today, and that pretty much tells you where you stand if you are not Caucasian. Another thing I wanted to point out for those who do not believe me, this is an article, Colonial Enslavement of Native Americans Included in Those Who Surrendered To. So even those who surrendered, those who said they're not going to fight, they're not going to stand up for themselves anymore, they were sold into slavery as well. So they didn't care what you were doing. The whole point is to usurp your land and take everything from you. So I wanted to kind of like skip down. It says, while natives had been forced into slavery and servitude as early as 1636, it wasn't until King Philip's War that natives were enslaved in large numbers. During the war, New England colonies routinely shipped Native Americans as slaves to Barbados, Bermuda, Jamaica, the Azores, Spain, and Tangier in North Africa. While Africans who were enslaved did not know where they would be taken, Native Americans understood they could be sent to Caribbean plantations and face extremely harsh punishment far from their homes and communities. Fear of this fate spurred some Native Americans to pledge to fight to the death, while others surrendered, hoping to avoid being sent overseas. So this is how we got to where we are today. So the last thing I'm going to point out regarding this whole Africa thing, because people seem to love to put this title on us, including those who are ignorant, and well, especially those who are ignorant and unaware of who they are as well. So it says Africa, an ancient Roman history, the first North African territory of Rome. That means this is a name that they're putting on the people in that area and calling them. This is not the name that the people called themselves. The people did not call themselves Africa. This is a Roman name. It's a name used to denote conquering, being conquered by Romans. So what does that say? At times roughly corresponding to modern Tunisia. It was acquired in 146 BC after the destruction of Carthage at the end of the Third Punic War. So that right there tells you this is not a name that the people over there, the indigenous people over there, call themselves. Also, not every ethnic group that's over there is even originally from that continent. So these are just things that people need to think about. That's all I wanted to say. I definitely wanted to point out the fact that Oya is an indigenous American goddess. Even her name sounds like it. In the mythology, her marriage to Shango represents the American Indian woman's marriage to the African males. Not saying this happened to everyone, because it didn't, but it did happen in some cases. So that's all I wanted to add, guys, and have a good night. I'm not good with this stuff, so I'm trying to figure out how to stop the recording.